So let's talk about coaching. So, all right. So there are two main coaching types. So two different coaching styles. So group is, so what you want to look at is what is your goal, okay, with coaching, right? Yeah, you're welcome. So wait, but let me, hold on. Jade, put Zena on the screen. Okay. So boot camp, driving, traffic, clarity, receive. All right, awesome. However, I'm going to speak to somebody who is not you, who's going to see this. Someone else, please do not see this in order as the end all be all. And I'm saying that because I ain't mean to be funny. Like somebody gonna see this and be like, all right, so I'm just gonna do a boot camp and then I'm gonna drive traffic. And I'm like, no. So I know that you got it, but I'm just saying that to even somebody who's not watching live or catching certain parts and not paying attention. Okay, you can take it off, team. I just wanna make sure that people understand that there's multiple parts, okay? So group coaching. What is your goal for the person at the end, and what do you feel like would enhance their experience? Okay. So for group, all are working on the same goal, like group therapy, but we're talking about now a coaching program, right? All are working on the same goal, and you can personalize their experience, for example, by how you set up your group. So for example, on our DTA group call, the way that I challenge the objection of someone saying, I need one-on-one, is I will say something like, on a boot camp, if they ask, can you tell me in the chat box why you feel like you need one-on-one? And the answer that I typically get, actually 100%, is I need accountability. And I'm like, you need accountability? So bigger difference, and I think it's a podcast episode that came out today about this. Individual coaching, it doesn't mean that you're not going to move the needle in your business, but please note, most individual coaching does not have a portal unless the coach is working on the same thing with everybody they coach. So if I said, I'm no longer doing DTA as a group, I'm going to do it individually. It may be $5,000 because now you get me one-on-one and you get the course portal. You're going to get the course portal just like everybody else. I'm not going to personalize it for your business, but maybe we personalize that phone call. But really the phone call is about me putting some fire under your ass, excuse my language, for you to go and execute it. And then you're going to come to the next session. Let's just say if we got a few, and then I'm going to say, did you do your homework? And you're going to be like, whoa, I have to go to my kids' basketball. Yeah. So you're investing your time and money into access and you're not using it. And to me, if somebody shows up to a group call and you don't even want to show your face, granted, you ain't got to show your face, but if you don't even want to show your face, you definitely can't do one-on-one because there is no, let me just show Dr. TK my thumbnail on Zoom. Hell no, I need to see your face. Put a 2 in the comment box if that makes sense to you. So the way that we set it up is that we encourage our students that if you're not a big talker, put your question on the call. If you're not a big talker, pre-submit your question before we get on the call, but be on the call though to clarify your answer, right? If you want to just ask your question, like Melissa, who asked it earlier about the VIP sessions, she's one of our DTA community experts. She joined DTA about 1.5 years ago, but she always shows up, and she did alumni like 3 cohorts ago, right? But it just shows you that as you continue to build and get more clear, you can then come back, for example, to our community. We have unlimited access. As long as you finish your payment plan or pay in full, you have unlimited access to our program, even with upgrades to that program with like updated information. So what I'm saying is you can have a group program and still personalize the experience. But what makes it personalized is the client being able to show up and ask questions. Okay. So I really throw it back and put the ball in their court. Like, so are you not able to show up in the group? Like you really, because also you're going to be limited to only the person on that call. So coaching program considerations: who, what problem do you solve? Can it be solved in one-on-one and or in a group? Now, let me slow some of y'all down because some of y'all may be saying, I want a group because I can serve more people, I can make more money, whatever the case may be. This is something you can try, is the method I'm about to show you, right? If you speak to most coaches who have a group program, they more than likely will tell you that they did what's called beta testing, write that down, and they did one-on-one services to truly understand where the client is, meaning the calls are recorded. You can watch them. You can write down what they're saying, how they're describing their problem. You take that same information and it will give you like a beautiful story about, gosh, all 3 of these people, they overlap. They saying the same thing. They want the same outcome. The next group, I'm actually going to have a launch, and we're going to have a group for these problems, because I find myself saying the same information over and over again. Doesn't that sound like what we talked about yesterday with group therapy? So the bottom line though is, can you help at least one person get a win? Because some of us are trying to get into group and you trying to get 20 people a win, but can you get one person a win first? Team, can you put that question by Dr. Shea on the screen? The last bullet on this part, but we're not done, is take the same system and apply it to the group. So whatever you're doing with that individual, then you're going to ask yourself, how can I make a bigger impact and take what I'm doing with this person one-on-one and serve multiple people like this, not just multiple people. So like in the academy, we're very specific. You either have to be at least 60 to 90 days before licensure with the ability to learn information while also holding on to your licensing information, because I don't want to be in your way, right? Because you're going to learn information. You also got to be a person who you are coachable and teachable and you're ready to do the work, because we have a self-paced portal and you show up to get coached in a group, right? The second half of the person already has a practice, but they have no back office, or their back office is trash. And you know who you are. Like, you ain't got no systems. You say it's all in your head, right? So Dr. Shea asked, beta testing, is consent required? So we're not talking about therapy. We're talking about coaching. This is when we get into systems with you building out your coaching program. I would always say, I like contracts. Our coaching programs, not our events, but our coaching programs do have contracts, because the contracts are more for accountability, but it also covers payment. What happens if you default in payment? What happens to the access to the portal? What happens to your ability to do anything else with me in the future? And then it has a whole section on how are you going to be accountable for yourself. So I do hold people who sign up with me, even when I was doing one-on-one coaching, they still have to sign a contract. Good question. Okay. Systems considerations, because the other one was the who. Now we're talking about the behind the scenes. So how are you wanting to launch it? Now, some of you have been part of people's launches. So what I would encourage you to do is pay attention to how they are showing up. Write it down, like, it look like they're doing an Instagram challenge. It look like they're doing a podcast, like 5 drip thing, or they doing an online course thing where you got to give them the email address and you got to go and watch a 3-part video, or they doing a 1-day webinar. It's so many different launch styles. Pick one that you think you're going to like. You don't know until you do it, because there's multiple steps. And I can tell you, all of my mastermind students who finally launch after putting certain steps off from the launch process in 2021, and then they launched in 2022, most of them said they were what's called tired. And I was excited. And you're like, what? And I was excited because they finished. No matter what their results were, they finished. So they were like, oh my God, my launch was a flop. It wasn't, because you finished. Now, what's going to make it a flop is if you don't do it again, unless you realize the way you launch or what you launch is not aligned with you. But sometimes the only way you can figure that out is if you launch. So don't count yourself out because step 1 of the launch process didn't work, or you not getting people as much as you would like. Hey, you got to start somewhere. Stop trying to fill up a stadium for a football game before you fill up your living room. You feel me? And so launch style, how many clients do you want in your program? So you may say, I'm doing one-on-one coaching. Listen, I'm just going to start with 1, but my goal is to do 3. And so you may have a max. Like when I was doing one-on-one coaching for higher level, it was before our group mastermind program. I was only able to take with my schedule 10 clients at a time. So there were times when some DTA students would say, oh, I'm ready for the one-on-one coaching. And I would be like, unless somebody doesn't renew, because they were on like a certain like 90-day or 6-month plan with me, right? Unless one of them, don't renew, you don't have a spot. So I was very focused with my time, right? Very strict and have boundaries. Okay. Again, kind of breeze through these. Some of these are overlap. Again, what is your onboarding process? How are they going to get those consent form? I wouldn't call it a consent form, more of a contractual agreement. That is not my expertise. You want to talk to a lawyer to make sure that yo stuff is in order. Okay. How many sessions do they get, whether it's group or individual? Portal considerations. Now, let me just say this. You may say, I only want to do one-on-one coaching. I prefer one-on-one coaching. I love one-on-one coaching. I don't think group is it, right? If that's you, that's fine. But please note, I would not encourage you to have 10 clients and have 10 different portals. I put a 2 in the comment box if you like, oh, because you may start with one client and say, I'm happy. I'm going to personalize the experience. The then you get another one. Then you get another one. Then you get another one. So you mean to tell me you got 5 different course portals that you either upload, you don't have to upload their videos. You can shoot them that video via Zoom and put a timer saying, you need to download this to your computer because I didn't have to upgrade my Zoom cloud for this. I only get 40 gigabytes. So you got 7 days to download your session or it's getting deleted. And you can set it up on automation for Zoom to lock them out. They can't see the replay unless they within that 7-day period. And then you go and delete it, or you download it to your computer to keep it, but you delete it from your cloud. You don't have to buy all these systems, but if you start creating course shells, you also got to pay for that. That's not a joke. Certain platforms, they may have where you can create unlimited. There may be some platforms where you say it's $99 a month for 3 courses or 3 products, but you got 10 clients. So now you're paying $199. You better sell those coaching sessions because now that's overhead that you not getting paid for, right? So portal considerations. Also think about time. What is your one-on-one time versus group? But again, I would encourage you, make sure you can solve one person's problem. And this is not on here, but make sure that your product or service is viable, meaning people are looking for help for it. It is not best for you to create a product or service because you think it's good. That's not good enough, or I needed it. It doesn't matter if you needed it. It doesn't matter if you like it. If other people don't want to pay for it, it doesn't matter, right? What is the location and time? Is it online and or is it in person? What time zone? There's no perfect time also to have a coaching call. It isn't. So you can play around with different times. You're never going to meet everybody's needs. If you do that, you're going to be a people pleaser and you're going to be hurt. So framework, again, what is the presenting problem? That's A. What is the problem that you solve? That's B. And then what's on the other side of the solution? That's C. Okay. So someone said, Zena, I might have overlooked portal considerations. Yeah, it's a costly mistake. Thank you for that. Right. Also considerations. Somebody mentioned earlier, I think Melissa with VIP days and somebody else with a consent form. So consultation to paperwork, then to the client, how are they going to get it? Is it via email? Is it on automation in your email marketing system? When they sign up during the launch process, how do they even know that you have a coaching program? Is it on Instagram? Do they go to a landing page? When y'all signed up for this bootcamp, there was a landing page. You landed on it. It's not a website. There's no navigation. It is sign up for the bootcamp, click this button, and then we have automation going on in the background. What are your payment system? Is it pay in full? Is it through Stripe? Do you have to manually send an invoice? Do you have to, do you set it on recurring? Do you know how to do that? Who monitors the payments to make sure they're paid, right? Email marketing system, that's called a CRM. I won't get deep into that, but how are you tracking your leads? Meaning people who are interested. Do you email them back in a month if they say, follow up with me in a month? Right? Renewal. Let's just say you see people every 90 days, you give them, 3 sessions or whatever. How do you talk about renewal? What is the renewal fee? What does the renewal consist of? Is it the same thing or is it like a different tier? Length of time to solve the problem. This is key. There should have been 2 asterisks next to this one. How long does it take you to deliver the information to solve the problem? So someone may tell me in DTA, 6 weeks ain't enough. I know. That's why we have bye weeks. Every other week we have off. Now you may have a bonus call in that program, but that's why you have unlimited access to the entire portal for the rest of your life until I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping it's going to outlive me, So if you need to go back, I just really want you to use the support during those 12 weeks to ask your questions, but you still have access to Facebook. So how long does it take you to deliver the problem? The solution to the problem. And that's how you may dictate how many sessions you get. Somebody's going to ask me how many sessions. I don't know. Depends on the problem. And don't try to solve all the problems in like 3 sessions. Can it be separated into multiple packages levels? The answer is yes. I can put DTA and ECM together, but that would not be great. Okay. That would not be great at all. That's too much. That's too much. Okay. For launching, some of you may have asked. So here is different types, not all of them. I'm not going to give you the steps. You can launch via webinar. You can tell people to get on a calendar for a consultation, AKA make them a qualified lead, ask them questions. So for example, those of you who want to come to that information session for the mastermind, I'm already qualifying you as somebody appropriate to even hear the information based on the questions that are on that questionnaire before you even get to say, add me to the Zoom call. And it's a group call. It's an information call. It's not a coaching call. You can do a Zoom information session. I'm doing that for the mastermind, right? Email marketing or text marketing. Evergreen is something is available all the time. You definitely have to have the money and the systems and the team or a team member set up for that. Social media, you can drive traffic from social media to the DM or click the link in my bio. Facebook ads, please do not run Facebook ads right now. I don't care if you've been running business for 10 years, okay? If you don't understand Facebook ads, boosting an ad through an Instagram post is not running a Facebook ad. Okay, you have to have a Facebook manager account. You have to have a pixel. You have to know how your ideal clients show up on Facebook, not in your head and in your ideal description on your paper. What people put on their Facebook page when you first signed up, depending on when you signed up, if you did it like me when you were in college and Facebook was only for college students, most of us never update our bio. We might have updated it with our title, maybe our business, but let's just say you didn't even do that. Let's just say if you don't even call yourself a mental health therapist because you're not, or you just don't use that title. You may target those people as therapists, but they're not even using those titles. So we've had to do years of studying Facebook ads in order for me to launch Facebook ads the way that I do to get leads. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. You can do what's called a live launch. This is a live launch, like a live video series. I like to do these because it helps me build rapport with people who I want to talk to on Instagram or people who are going to participate in my programs, right? You can do a challenge that can be on any platform for like 3-5 days. Just make sure you understand challenge, and it's like so many other things. Okay. So let me just wrap things up with more mindset stuff. Okay. Some of the things you want to consider for coaching. At what point do you move to group coaching? I talked about that earlier. Once you've recognized how you solve individual problems and you've saw how you can create a framework to walk a group of people through the same processes, and you know what those processes look like, maybe you already created them for the individuals. Now maybe you can entertain like doing a group. Okay. So as I mentioned, DTA, we went from one-on-one consultations initially. I wasn't doing any webinars. That was helping me get to know the problem, right? Then I realized that people were asking me, well, can I just pay you to teach me like all of this stuff in like 30 days? I had a lady ask me that in LA, and I'm like, okay. And so I charged her. It was over $1,000. I met with her 4 times for about 45 minutes. I created a course portal. I'm telling y'all all this because I did all these things and I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? And then I realized that what I put in her portal was not applicable to the next person. I'm like, shoot. So it did, though, give me the upper hand because it helped me use my gift as teaching. It helped me use my gift as creating courses and pretty much walking people through a seamless framework, being a professor. Right. So I then created a portal that I was able to share with multiple individual clients at a time. And then I ran into my biggest first problem, which is if I got somebody that was different, I would have to create something different. Right. So I do want to say not all problems are created equal. Just because somebody says in the DM, this is what I need help with, we all know that it's deeper than what they say. Right. So with doing one-on-one, I had a choice. Okay. I can either keep individual portals or I can determine what is the common theme for the problem. That is key. You want to write that down. What is the common theme for the problem? Next phase is, can I actually solve the problem? This is low-key a free coaching session for some of y'all right now. Okay. Once you decide, can you solve the problem? The next layer is, what is the framework to solve it where what I'm doing with them, the processes can be universal. Meaning if you wanted it to be no cap enrollees, it can be 1,000 people in your program and all of them can take it and then personalize it to whatever they got going on, whether it's personal or business. And then also, can you remove some overwhelming topics that maybe you thought they were ready for, but you realize that don't have to be in your framework. That can be in a higher level program. Now you can flip it and say, I'm going to do group, and people who want access to me one-on-one, you're going to flip the order of your product suite. Put a 1 in the comment box if y'all getting this. You started off with one-on-one, getting an understanding of your ideal client, really understanding the messaging. What are they saying that you can help other people understand, right? Then once you get confident, if you choose, you don't have to, you can open up a group program and do the same thing with just multiple people, right? Then you can say, I don't do one-on-one anymore. Or if I do one-on-one, it's going to be $1,000 an hour because you want to leverage your time. So I created one program. I was able to serve more people. I was able to get my time back because I was able to serve people in a less amount of time and still get them wins. And how do I launch a group program? For me personally, sometimes these questions come up in this boot camp, like, What are some of the things that you learned on the way to help you position yourself beyond me just being a professor and creating like courses? Because courses in a course shell for college is very different than an online course for business or stuff like that. So my first investment, or one of the first investments I made, was like $2,000 to teach me how to build an online course, literally step by step. Also, I recognized in that program, it was group. So I was looking at how the person modeled it for us. So we also didn't have any one-on-one access. We only had a Facebook community and online coaching calls. That's it. You better show up and ask your question. So I learned to take massive action. And these are the people that I realized that I was looking for. So you should declare who you're looking for in your coaching program. You want a person who takes massive action. At least this is what I say. I want people who take massive action, who can execute based off what I'm teaching. I want people who are self-starters. I don't want to hold you by your hand. You are grown. You are a professional. It doesn't mean you can't show up and ask questions, but I don't want to tell you to log in, press start. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't even want to tell you that delegation is number 5, because in your outline, in your syllabus, it said you will learn delegation in module 5. And D is for delegation per our framework. So I want people who are resourceful. I want people who can share their results. I want to know that what we are doing is working, right? And what I loved about the program that I was in is that because I showed up and showed out and I was all these things that I expect of other people, I became part of her case study when she was in her first $1 million run. And let me tell you where this young lady, and she's Black, that does this, she's earned over $20 million doing online courses. But when I log into her portal, I see my case study. And I think that's so fire that I've seen the growth of someone else. And I aspire to certain parts of who she is. You should find people that you look up to that are 8 to 10 steps ahead of you, right? So I launched DTA about 4 to 5 times, even before I got my first 12 people. Again, are you, no shade against your mood, but are you a sore loser? Are you giving up? I don't deem anything as a failure unless you quit. Put a 1 in the comment box if you received that. You are not a failure until you quit. Okay. So here's the truth. In terms of me launching coaching programs, I had multiple webinars. Nobody signed up sometimes. And when they did, they didn't show up. But you would have swore I was in the Lakers Stadium at the Staples Center, like giving them the blues, right? I don't care if 2 of y'all was left on this call and I went for 3 damn hours. You would still think that I was talking to hundreds and thousands of people. I don't look at the number of people there in order for me to show up as my best self. And that's why people are really attracted to me based off of how I show up. That is my brand, right? So webinars, no one showed up. Another webinar, maybe 1 or 2 people showed up. Literally, that was in my stats. Like 2 people showed up, right? I ran Facebook ads, didn't know what I was doing, no formula, wasting my money. Then I said, well, let me get on the phone with people because maybe people need to talk to me after a webinar or in lieu of a webinar. So I've done phone interviews for DTA. I've done Zoom interviews for DTA. The common thread amongst people who showed up, I used that data and I kept going over and over and over again. I'm not quitting because I know that they're looking for this information. But the thing I know about therapists is that we're a little prideful because we paid all this money for school. So we don't want to own that we need to pay extra money. I ain't even gonna say investment. You got to pay extra money to know what you don't know that you think you know. Okay. So what I realized was, like I said on the previous slide, there were common threads. One of the biggest common threads, which I spend so much time doing these case studies, even with you all, is to show you that not everybody is what you see only on the aesthetics of an Instagram post, right? So most therapists and healers were struggling with their mindset as an entrepreneur, not a 9-to-5 employee. So hence, I created a bonus that is a recording, a audio to get them amped up about being a business owner mindset, right? I also teach them about operating systems. I am a quality assurance queen. Yep, that was half of my job at part of all my jobs, right? That's why I do program development very well, right? But I don't really like to micromanage if I can help it. I prefer to train you, teach you, you go about your way, and just hit me up in Slack or something if you're on my team, right? But I realized that they didn't have any back office system. So I'm like, ooh, this is why you can't leverage your time. I also recognized that not everybody was in the position to pay in full. So I took a risk and I allowed them to pay in a payment plan, not a subscription. Because some people email us and say, I want to cancel my subscription plan in the academy. It's not a subscription plan. You signed a contract. You have 7 payments or 12 payments. In order for you to remain in good standing with me and our community and this program, you have to finish your payment or I'm sending you off to collections. I don't say it like that, but that's what the contract says, right? I also recognize that a lot of people were wanting me one-on-one, but I recognize that I can make a bigger impact and I can give you access to me throughout the year in different cohorts of students throughout the year. Versus once your sessions are over, if you don't pay, you don't get me. So y'all see the difference in mindset of me wanting to do a group? Show up and talk. Because a lot of people, like I said, want that one-on-one, but they don't want that fire though, right? So I realized that it wasn't until I helped about 10 individual therapists at minimum individually, and the therapists were in LA, New York, and Chicago, and in Texas. I know exactly where they were. I know their names to this day, right? I know the 10 therapists that I helped almost 8 years ago or whatever. But I realized that I needed to also build up my confidence to be able to deliver what I wanted to do as a group now, because now it's more eyes on me at one time. So it's not just the clients, it's also yourself. So we've been able to serve over 250 something therapists that have went through DTA as a group in the last, it's going on 3 years, like at the end of this year. So 2.5 years. But I will say, I am very happy to say that my impact, so figure out how you want to show up with the breadcrumbs, with telling people that you are an expert. I really love serving thousands of people by doing stuff like this. And if you feel called that you want something or need something that I offer, then you get it. If you don't, catch me in a DM, but I'm not coaching you in a DM though. Okay. I also offer CE workshops. I also clearly have a mastermind plus events, but all of this stemmed from me doing a lot of stuff one-on-one first. And then I went into group. All right. Got questions? So if you got questions, put them in. I'm going to do a summary. Okay. So summary is, do you have time to work on your business? Not in it, but on it. What we're talking about are the things that are on it. Okay. Why do you want a coaching business? Is it long-term or are you just trying to pay your car note? Assign your money. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but is it long-term? Because you're putting your energy and time in it and money. It does require an investment, typically both time and money at some stage, because it's something you don't know how to do. And if it's not money into a coach, it's money into a team member. But you have to know how to oversight the team member and for you to know what they're talking about. So you may have to pay for coaching. Team, you got to be consistent. Okay. Active streams of income. This is like some of my resume. Okay. So in terms of investment, I spent $2,000 learning how to build an online course. I got unlimited access to that course. And you're going to see the difference with some people's programs. I also joined a membership program course that taught me how to launch a membership. After I launched a membership and realized I had hella pieces missing. One of them was the framework, right? I also took a course that taught me variation of ways of launching systems. I also took a course that just focused on manifestation and mindset. I actually took 2 of those. And one of them was like 2,000, one of them was 1,000. I also did a business and mindset mastery course level 1 with some live group sessions and one in-person session for $10,000 for 9 months. Then I also joined this same person, their mastermind. I did that for 4 years at $24,000 a year. In that program, there was only one level of one-on-one, one VIP session for up to 4 hours. Online, at one point it was in person, but we would have to fly to Florida to see her, right? But that's it. You don't get no more one-on-one access for $24,000, right? Then another mastermind, there was no access to one-on-one for $24,000 again. 5 years full of $24K. That does not include travel, hotels, and things like that. And they did not have us in no rinky-dink spots. We were either in Walt Disney World or we were in the Ritz. You know what I'm saying? Like $1,000 a night. It wasn't a joke. And there's nowhere else to stay. You in the mountains and snow. So VIP days, I purchased a program that taught me how to launch VIP days. That was $2,000 as well. Now, we did not continue to get access to that course. After 12 months, your access gets kicked out. You got to pay again. All those masterminds. Once I'm out, I no longer have access to the course portal. Okay. I took many courses across the board, across the last 10 years, in-person mastermind sessions, going to live events for one day, $1,000, but flying out. And so much more money. Why am I sharing this with you? Am I saying that you got to spend all this money to invest in yourself to get to where I am? I'm not saying that. But what I am trying to help you see is that if you connect with people who are steps ahead of you with what they know, you can actually time collapse how long it will take you to know the same thing. Put a 1 in the comment box if that makes sense, because some of us are only looking at the money and you're not looking at the time. Your time is money. So at some point, your growth will cost you. You are the average of the 5 people you give your time to. Okay? People don't want generalists, they want the expert. Well, guess what? You went to school to become an expert. So why wouldn't you go to school again to become an expert with something that you didn't go to school for? Mindset. You spent all this time not complaining about these 3,000 hours outside of it probably being free. But then we complain when we take one coaching program and we launch something and it's deemed as a flop to you. And you like, I knew it. It was a waste of my money. No, you need to do it again. No, you don't know who your ideal client is. No, you didn't even follow instructions. No, you didn't even log into the portal. You didn't download the workbooks. You didn't come to the coaching calls and ask questions. What is the common denominator? I ain't saying that there aren't bad coaches out there, but you are a grown-ass person to take your time and figure out what you're signing up for, which means that you have to know what you want. That's why I don't encourage people to have multiple new streams of income at a time. So why take 5 years when I can give you what you know in digestible pieces, for example, in 12 weeks, in 2 days, in 12 months? That's usually how our programs are set up. 12 weeks is the Academy for Private Practice. 2 days are live events. 12 months is our mastermind, or at least up to a year. What would your life be like if you can cut your learning time required for what you don't know, or to implement what you haven't done? Working on your business. Working on your business. How much is it? How much is your time worth to you? This is what clients really pay you for beyond your knowledge. They are coming to you for therapy so that they don't have to read a damn book and then try to get stuck while trying to figure it out by themselves. That's why it's okay for you to charge 3 figures, unless it's hyper-intensive sessions, or 4 figures. They're paying you for your investment of time in your education to shortcut the process. Now, if you choose to keep them in therapy for 5 years because you don't have no structure in therapy, that's your fault. My $24,000 investments, this is how I look at it. It cut me in time. It taught me stuff that I was never taught or that I thought I knew. It gave me time because I had to execute, to implement, and it helped me build my team. I, to me, got my $24,000 worth on one coaching call after I logged into the portal because I know how to take action. All those things for me with mindset and execution led me to having 6-figure months throughout the year. I just didn't wake up and say I want to have a coaching program. One $24K investment in a 12-month program, I had multiple wins in 30 days. I got my ROI intangibly, but on my 5th year in coaching as a student in a high-level mastermind. 24K investment after going through other programs. 5th year, what does that tell you? You can hear the same thing over and over again, but it's not going to land unless you're in the position to receive it. Also, annual revenue. I made my annual revenue my month's revenue as a therapist. Put a 2 in the comment box. Y'all fired up like, yo, don't feel a certain type of way. Get excited because I'm just showing you what's possible. That's all. As a therapist, any of y'all can do this. But what's set aside the top 1% to the other 99%, because I declare that I'm in the 1%, okay, is that I take action and that I don't mind failing because it's part of the process. So how did all this happen? Clones don't get paid. And you may be like, what the hell is this lady talking about? Clones don't get paid. And I'm not going to say it's anything wrong with seeing what somebody else is doing and saying, wow, I want to be like that. Wow, I want to do that. But it becomes a problem when you're literally trying to become a clone of someone else and you don't find your own way. I took stuff that people taught me and I'm like, oh, that's cute for an event. Oh, I like that live launch, but I'm having a boot camp. I'm not doing 3 days spread out. We doing 4 days back to back. I ain't lost sense because I do what's best for me and what I feel like is best for my community. And it ain't like they ain't showing up, right? So also, teams save me money and time. So I feel like my 24K over and over again was well worth it. I would rather invest in someone who's 8 to 10 steps ahead of me because they clearly know something and have something I don't. And some of you may be like, I'm on the same level. I've heard that. Like, I don't need to join no mastermind. I know all that stuff. Is it showing up in your bank account? If the answer is no, you know it, you ain't implementing it. Maybe you need to be around other people to light fire under your ass so you can implement it. And if you don't want to implement it, you don't want them results like that. So don't sit here and compare yourself because you're not on the same level as them. They are implementing, they are getting results. If they don't like their results, they're doing it over and over again. That's what sets them aside from other people. Okay. So I am your active, streams case manager today as we wrap up. Okay. If you're interested in maybe doing an overview of your private practice, the program is called DTA, Dope Therapist Academy, Manifest a Profitable Private Practice. I share with y'all on day 4. If you want to get on a wait list, it opens up in the summer. We decided to plug one more in because some students wanted support in the summer. And I realized how much time I had that I didn't think I had when I first started doing the schedule. So we are going to open up the doors in the summer. That's only for solo practice. If you are earning $7,000 a month on a consistent basis for at least 6 months in a row, and you want to learn how to truly diversify your portfolio based on what we talked about today, but we got 2 more days, then you may want to check out the mastermind. That's them codes, like the mastermind code, that's that code, right? If you're not sure, but you want to test drive the car and you like, I think I want to learn how to launch one of these streams of income and I want to see if I like it, but I don't want to commit to anything. I just want to come to a live event. Well, then come to the conference. Or not, just listen to the podcast, but I'm not going to coach you through the podcast, right? But it don't mean no gems are in the podcast, but I'll discuss more details later.